So we have a 2v2 game between Mumbo on the left, SirLimbo on the right. We will switch around to view it from their perspective, because right now Larry and Spinesso are blue.
So I've been making a few changes. I should probably mention the backstory of why these changes even were necessary. I've been trying to play as the good guy all along, which means basically playing by some gentlemanly rules, like no flanking before you get flanked and don't go for aggro. Unless the other guy goes for aggro, because I've seen my units get wiped under tower debuff one too many times. So when the other guy goes aggro, I go absolutely ape on them. Which means that all the cheesy tower snipes and all the stuff that aggro players hopefully hate. And then I realized, wait, aggro isn't the bad guy anymore. Aggro isn't the dark side anymore. The dark side is these cheesy Exodia builders who are going for literally Vulcans literally every game and building whatever DPS they need behind it, so you can basically not kill them in standard versus standard unless you match their build. And I also don't necessarily want to play Vulcans every single game or at all right now. I think they need like one more patch until they are normal-ish.
Fair enough.
Which means this is basically my first full-on aggro game that you are watching here. And my opponent, well, I'm starting with standard, but let's just say it's not gonna stay that way.
So
So where are you right now as far as the rounds go?
15 seconds left in round one.
On round one.
I've got a Stormcaller, 2 Stormcallers, 3 Arclights, pair of Fangs in front of them, and we are off to... It's a gorgeous map, isn't it? It's my favorite map of the whole board. The whole game. You're just fighting over the river.
Seems to be a bit of a dried out river though, compared to how lush and green the rest of the land looks.
It is a little dry, yes. Alright, so storms are going to win us round one.
Yep. And we're going to need it because, unfortunately, Mumbo has run into a bit of trouble. He didn't have as good a matchup as I did, but there are some units coming that way. However, with Stormcallers being a counter to both Marksmen and Tarantulas, this should work out fairly nicely. I think you can accelerate basically. All we're going to see is Stormcallers shoot away at targets that can't really shoot back until they get much closer. This is why I'm saying there has to be some acceleration here, otherwise people are going to get bored. Watching slow Stormcallers and Marksmen approach each other for a showdown that you already know who wins.
Right.
I'm starting on round 2 now.
Alright, we just started round 2 as well.
Yep. I'm also an absolute sucker for picking up early EMP, because early EMP is just so good later on. It won't matter usually if you pick it in round 2, but you can kind of just keep it and have a bit of a sort of Damocles hanging over your opponent's head. So if he wants to click text, he's gotta think, is EMP gonna come out this round?
Right.
Same goes for his partner.
Right. I actually also take it early a lot, and will sometimes just drop it on a backpack of crawlers or something, whatever was useful on that round to just to slow the timing of the chaff. Get some better early locks.
So unfortunately this time around I get backdoored by a bunch of crawlers. And that means that my round isn't going all that hot, but my unit choices and my chaff positioning, I think I can also say, is just very solid here. Which means that even though I got backdoored by crawlers, the round is still looking pretty great. The Arclight turning around helps a lot. The Fangs are working on the tower. The Marksman shooting its first shot into the Fangs, also very vital here. Tower falls at a very good time. And at the end of the day, I have a pack of Stormcallers and still some Fangs left. And my opponent, well, not my opponent, Mumbo's opponent, has 4 level 2 Marksmen coming in and a Tarantula. But you know, Stormcallers and some chaff, that is an army.
It is an army, yes.
Well, as long as the opponent isn't flying with wasps and stuff.
Right.
So we can basically just skip ahead until round 3 at this point. The marksman does actually take out 2 of the remaining 3 Stormcallers, but it still is 50 damage on our opponents.
Right.
So round 3, I'm hoping I'm not too fast here.
You are about 10 seconds ahead of us.
Oh, okay.
So.
Gotta wait a few seconds.
Yeah, if you wanted to add up the to add up, if you wanted to match your audio to my video, you need to. Okay, we are 90 left in the round 3, and at 1.0 speed.
I'm gonna zoom a bit ahead. As you can see, my opponent, like, I know my opponent in that sense. He drops the Vulcan, he already has marksman, he has enough chaff, he has some sledges. Right. And what do you do when you are the normal kind of player right now, the standard versus standard player, and you want to win? You drop the Vulcans and put the marksman behind them. Which means I instantly drop the worm.
We've got a worm, we've covered the flank with a arc light.
Yep. By the way, level 1 arc lights now beat level 2 crawlers. I think that wasn't the case before, now they do. Meanwhile, if you might just want to take a look at Mambo's side, there isn't much happening on my side anymore. I dropped the EMP there, thinking that maybe we're going to see something like range on the marksman or something else coming out. It does not appear to be the case. Right now, he's kind of still trying to build a board that can survive here. It's only because I had some leftover Stormcallers that just countered the entire opponent's army up to this point that we've actually not taken some amount of damage here.
Now we have a worm devouring a Vulcan.
Yep. One of the best sides there is, but also my opponent, like, he is going for the full normal build in standard versus standard that people at higher levels of MMR are gonna have to be seeing like 1 out of 2 games if they only play standard versus standard. Vulcans, marksman, Stormcaller, some chaff in the front, and maybe some medium units like the sledges, and then just stack that until you win at the end of the game.
I like the way your board is kind
sick and tired of it.
Verging on into a useful formation here. It's one of the key elements in 2v2 is the formation that you're engaging enemy in after winning your side. I'm going to jump to 1.5 now as we're marching to fight the other side.
So this time there's a whole lot coming in on this side because, well, there's some sabers that have survived, some spiders. I do have level 2 storms though. The level 2 storms can definitely put the hurt on level 2 of everything. Marksmen are kinda annoying, but also they are pretty easy to splash because the Stormcallers will naturally just hit a bit behind what they usually hit. I definitely didn't expect it, but at the end of the day, you know, there is enough Stormcallers left.
And we win again.
Yep.
So really important here that SirLimbo is denying opponents a whole lot of health damage on the bar. And also winning the XP war in a way that he's not feeding a whole lot of XP to Larry's units as they come over. So one of the things that can happen in a 2v2 is if you're losing your side, your opponent that's already beating you runs in and feeds off of your partner. Even if they lose that battle, you can wind up behind them on a whole bunch of, on experience, and their snowball build can just snowball through you. And denying that.
This is why Mambo's having a real bad time right now. Like, you can see that marksman cluster there is just leveling and leveling harder.
Right, but
and
it's not leveling
he's
off
just
of
having a lot
board,
of problems.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
So, if it was also getting to level off of your board, it can get to the point where neither of you can handle it.
Yeah. He's up against a pretty bad start, I want to say. I think I'm up against just an awful build, but I know how aggro players think, I think. I've played against them enough, I would say.
Right.
So I literally just reposition the worm to where the Vulcan is not, and boom, add another one. Mobile beacon them straight to the tower,
Right.
eat the tower, and then hopefully eat the rest of the board. My opponent is following the standard playbook that is absolutely disgusting, but also absolutely effective. Put Scorch on the Vulcan so it can burn absolutely everything, even though I think in this spot it makes literally 0 sense. Like,
Right.
what is that Vulcan really going to Scorch here? Does he think he's gonna Scorch to the worms forever?
He was trying to win the Worm v Worm, or the Worm v Vulcan quicker, because he felt like that was close last round.
Yep. But now their worms aren't even remotely near that Vulcan.
Right.
Instead, there's a tower that falls, and my opponent's Vulcan is getting Stormcalled upon by level 2 Stormcallers.